Today we're going to talk about the process of converting a regular orthographic view like this, where you have a front view and a side view with hidden lines and everything. We want to convert this into a section view. Now, a section view is when you take a theoretical slice through the part, either all the way or part of the way, and remove part of that object. And so once you do that, then this view that is a regular orthographic view with hidden lines and all those things, it will change because you will be looking at the inside of the part. And so these lines that are hidden lines now will become object lines. And some of the object lines that you see will in turn will have to be taken out altogether. For this line, for example, that line represents the outside edge of this cylinder as it wraps around. And once we slice it down the middle, we won't see that edge anymore. All we'll see is the inside stuff, which is all these holes that are represented by the hidden lines. And so for our purposes today, this is going to become a full section. That means that we're going to slice right down through the middle of here. We're going to remove this half, and we're going to convert this to the section view. Now you'll notice that a few rules have been followed of basic projection. Early on you learned that you should revolve these features and project them straight across if you're doing a projection, so that they don't end up looking distorted. And so that's what's taken place here. You can see that it's been revolved and projected straight across. Well, the same rule is used in section views, so we can do a straight conversion of the orthographic and it will work just fine. Okay, so if we're going to take our slice through the middle, we normally would put a cutting plane line there. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a dark cutting plane line through the middle of this. And there's a variety of line types that can be used for the cutting plane line. There's two. Today I'm going to just use long dashes. And this line is very thick. And so I'm just going to go right over the top of my center line. Normally we would try and erase that center line, but in this case mine's in ink. And so I'm just going to go over the top of it with an appropriate line type to make it look like a cutting plane line. So this cutting plane line that I'm going to use is just going to be 1/4 inch long dashes. Okay? And then out here on the ends, I've got to put some arrowheads, but I need about a 1/2 inch of line sticking out. And I want the arrowheads to point in the opposite direction of where the view is, because what that means is that we're looking that direction. So let me go ahead and add my arrowhead here. Okay, there's one. There's two. So we've got my arrowheads on now. So my cutting plane line tells me that I'm cutting it in half, I'm removing this half, and I'm looking at it toward the left, the way the arrows are pointing. Okay, the second thing I need to do is I need to take out this object line that's not going to be there, because once I cut through the middle of it, I won't see this anymore. So I'll erase that. And once that's gone, the next thing is to change all of the hidden lines into object lines. So give me just a minute and I'll do that. Okay, there we go. All of the hidden lines have been converted now to object lines. And so the next thing that we would do is to add the diagonal cross-hatching where the object touches the cutting plane. Now you'll notice that there's a big hole right here. That's what this pocket is right here. There's a hole right there that goes through. That's what this area is. And then we've got these counterbore holes here and here. Now none of those things touch the cutting plane because they're curving away from it. So it's this area in here, this area here, here, and here that actually touch the cutting plane, and the rest of them are behind it because of the curve. So we'll go ahead and add some cross-hatching in those areas. Okay, I'm just about finished with the cross-hatching, but I wanted you to watch how I did this. Notice that I'm doing both of these sections at the same time. And that we're getting the diagonal cross-hatching all the way across here. Now we did miss a couple of little spots right here and right here and right there as we were going along, and one right there. So you try to make sure that you work all the way along on the part so that all of them line up with each other as you work your way through. Now you'll notice the cross-hatching is a thinner line, and it's not too close together. It's about 1/8 of an inch apart. And if you do that, if you don't space it so close, then if there's little imperfections in the spacing, it's not as noticeable. One of the big problems beginning drafters have when they start doing cross-hatching is they tend to put it way too close together, and so every little imperfection shows up. And so watch out for that as you're putting in your diagonal cross-hatching. But here you are. Here's a completed section view. It started out as an orthographic with hidden lines and all of that stuff. We added the cutting plane line, and then we converted all of the hidden lines to object lines. We took out an object line that was going to not be there when we sliced through the middle, and then we finally added the diagonal cross-hatching. And here you have a finished section view.